Well, all this month, ABC7 is committed to telling stories and highlighting issues impacting the Black community. This morning, we're focusing on the workplace.
Some say that progress is being made, but not fast enough when it comes to work equality. And joining us this morning is Dr. Tana M, a diversity and inclusion strategist for some of the top companies in the world. Good morning, doctor, and thank you so much for being with us.
Good morning, Rachel and John. Thanks for having me.
And so we've talked a lot about the Great Resignation. You say that Black women are the largest group least interested in returning to the office. Why is that?
Yeah, those surveys said that they basically do not feel psychologically safe in the workplace. And what that means is they don't feel they can be their true, authentic selves. So oftentimes they have to worry about the burdens of microaggressions and navigating through cultures that were not designed for them to succeed. And working at home now, they don't have those types of experiences as frequently because they just have to show up for a Zoom meeting. They don't have to worry about being confused with the only other Black person on the team or in the office because everyone's name is displayed on Zoom. So now people can remember their names. And they don't have to worry about necessarily how they are dressing, how they're wearing their hair. So all of these things have been negatively impacting them when they were in the office. And now they've had minimal experiences with those at home.
Doctor, when looking for a job, studies show that resumes with a stereotypical Black-sounding name are less likely to be called for an interview and sometimes offered lower starting salaries. You attribute that to an unconscious bias in the workplace. Can you tell us more about that?
Sure. So first, we're all guilty of unconscious bias. I like to let everyone know that. So it's those spontaneous judgments that we make, and they're primarily based on stereotypes. So oftentimes when we see ethnic sounding names on a resume, hiring managers or recruiters may pass over them until they find a name that they're familiar with or comfortable with before considering that other person. And there was a study done decades ago where they compared two resumes very identical in terms of experience, education, and skills, but they had different sounding names, one ethnic, one white sounding. And the one that was white sounding was selected more frequently. And that's still happening today. So organizations are looking to do blind recruiting where they remove a lot of this data from resumes and applications. So therefore they can minimize the likelihood that the recruiters and managers are experiencing these types of unconscious bias.
And I was just talking to our executive producer last week about Black hairstyles and how in some settings, unfortunately, they can be viewed as unprofessional. So can you talk about the Crown Act in California and why it is so important?
Yes, I would say the Crown Act is important even beyond California. And right now, there are over 10 states that have adopted it as well, which is a good thing, but we have a long way to go. And it's important because what it says is you cannot discriminate against people based on the way their hair grows out of their head naturally, whether it's dreadlocks, if they want to wear braids, if they want to wear an afro, Bantu knots even. And that does not necessarily just impact Black individuals. It's also Latino. And I've had many of my Jewish colleagues have told me that this impacted them in their career as well. So it really helps protect being discriminated against in the workplace and at schools because children are impacted by this because of how your hair grows out of your hair naturally.
And doctor, I wanted to ask you about the resumes again and also filling out job applications. We all know the boxes you have to check for different races. Do you think that is helping or hurting? And the reason I ask is my kids are multiracial and I tell them don't check the white box because I think that's going to hurt them in a job interview. What do you think?
Yeah, well, fortunately, there's a little caveat there. So what organizations are doing is they're trying to track the diversity of their talent pool. That information is not shared with recruiters or hiring managers. And so I know that sometimes candidates are hesitant to fill it out because they feel it may impact them negatively. So if the system is working the way it's designed to, and I've designed several of these, it's only really shared with HR so that they can report out on the diversity of their talent pool. Now, if someone's not comfortable providing that information, there's no real necessity to do so.
And doctor, the media tends to, focus on these types of issues, do these types of interviews in February, Black History Month. What can we do all year round to celebrate and honor Black history?
That is a fantastic question, and that's always a concern for me too. And what I like to say is that Black history is not just, in February, it's not just American history, it's world history. So if we look around us and we think about the impacts that Blacks have had on our civilization, it's worth celebrating every single day. Everything from the electronic elevator doors to the clothes dryer to the automatic shifts gears that we have in our cars. All of these things, and including adding the yellow light to the traffic light, all of these things are around us every single day. And oftentimes we're not even aware of who invented them and how they've actually been able to contribute to society and to civilization. So if we think about it through that lens, I think we'll realize that Black history is around us every single day.
Yeah, absolutely. Pleasure speaking with you. Dr. Tana Session, thank you for joining us, and happy Black History Month to you.
Same to you. Thank you so much.